Hey guys, Lord here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays, and what I have for you today is the Toy Biz Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance Outcast with claw slashing action. That's right, continuing our looks at the Toy Biz Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance line. Today we are looking at the first villain from this set, good old Outcast here. So, before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, let's first take a look-see at his accessories, starting off with his claw, of course molded in glow-in-the-dark plastic. Now there is a significant difference between the glow-in-the-dark plastic and glow-in-the-dark paint in this line, which no, I don't think the little spiky dads on his shoulders glow-in-the-dark, but the plastic feels like, you know, your typical ABS plastic, whereas the paint has a bit of a chalky texture to it. It's most noticeable on the Vengeance figure from this line. That said, I do really like the sculpt of this. It's very fossil-esque claw, and it does have a little tab right there, so it can go on this arm here. That said, he does not just come with this claw. No, he comes with, if I can find it here, a whacking stick, or a pricker switch for those of you who used to get your ass beat for being bad kids. As you can see, got the handle there, some prickers going up to this little loop-de-loop, and that little loop-de-loop is for this glow-in-the-dark chain here. And this glow-in-the-dark chain has a little peg that you can put into this loop-de-loop, like so. And you don't really have to worry about breaking this. It's not fragile by any means. Maybe just don't push on this part here. You don't want to put too much pressure on that link and mess the chain up, but there you go. There is the chain, but look, there is something else on the end of this chain. What could that be? A little port, most likely for this cage here, or lantern frame. Ooh, the plot thickens. It said, just clip that on like so. It's supposed to be like a hinge joint, but it doesn't really work like one. Just kind of pops off, but there you go. There is the chain link connected to the lantern. I don't know if this would legitimately hinge or what, but there you go. But there is a peg in this lantern. What could that be for? What else? A glow-in-the-dark skull, which, by the way, is not the same sculpt as the Danny Ketch skull, for those of you who are wondering. At least I don't think it is. But it does have a little peg hole on the back, or this little post on this cage slash lantern frame. And all you gotta do is kind of work it in here. And peg it into place. Like so. And there is the whacking stick with the chain connected lantern attached to it. And this is a pretty cool accessory. I don't think that's too much chain, because you could always have him holding it in his other hand there, but I would have liked maybe a little bit less just because of real estate, but this is fine. It's not like the Danny Ketch we looked at a couple of weeks ago, who came with enough chains to strangle 10 people. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Well, that being said, let's take a closer look at good old Outcast here. A figure I would really like to see in Marvel Legends someday, but don't think they'll ever get around to making him, because, I don't know, it's a Marvel Legends I would actually buy if they did. That said, looking at this character, And looking back at all the different bucks in the Marvel Legends line that could be used to bring him to life, I think the Sasquatch body, particularly with the Wendigo hands and feet, would work really well. They'd have to do something about the upper body, give him the spikes on the shoulders, and of course a new head, but they could get away with a lot of reuse there. I don't see why we can't get a figure of this dude at some point. But for those of you unfamiliar with good old Outcast here, he is one of the children of Lilith, the mother of demons, otherwise known as the Lilin. And we actually got quite a few of these characters in this Ghost Rider line, Skinner and Blackout from Series 1 to be exact, both of which are, I guess, siblings to Outcast here because Lilith is their mother. But with that being said, really cool cast of characters from this old 90s Ghost Rider line. I really hope to get some modern updates to them someday. That said, as far as articulation on this guy goes, he's got swivel in the shoulder technically. You can hear the click there. You gotta move him backwards though. If you move him forwards, you're just gonna get that, which is essentially the gimmick on this figure. His arms are spring-loaded and can do some good old-fashioned power punch action, power slam action, and that's essentially where the claw comes in. You lift this up and the claw will come down like so. That said, he does have single elbows as well as swivel at the forearm here. It's pretty nifty. He's got some spikes down here too. He's got a waist swivel. He's got the atrocious V-cut hips, but I don't really see how they could have avoided that other than making this like a soft rubbery piece. This was the mid-90s after all. It does have a hinge at the knee and nothing else. No ankle articulation or calf cut or anything like that. And nothing at the head because of the way it's sculpted. He's got the beard going on here. A very werewolf inspired character design. I quite like this. That said, if you want to attach the claw, just take it and it kind of clips on here. It's only going to go one way. And you don't even really got to worry about that tab lining up because this is sculpted to fit this way. So you do that. There he is with his bone claw, which was reused in the Savage Land series from the X-Men line not too long after. I think it was in a multi-pack with Angel and some dinosaur characters, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was first reused, or first introduced here. But of course, you could send it flying too, which I don't think is the point, but it's not a tight-fitting accessory, so if you really want this to stay on, you'd have to glue it. I'm not going to do that. But for those of you who did miss out on this figure and are like, is this guy going to be hard to get? Is he expensive? Is he rare? No, because on top of the fact that this is one of the more common figures in this line, is that a tab in there? I guess it is. It's just a loose tab. On top of the fact that this is one of the easier to come by figures from this line, he was re-released in the Toy Biz Marvel Universe, what is it, 96 line, along with the chain-whipping Danny Ketch. It's the same exact figures, they were just repacked for that series. So you could pick this guy up on a couple of different cards. The Ghost Rider card, which is a better one in my opinion, or the Toy Biz Marvel Universe card. But yeah, not the hardest figure to get a hold of from the Toy Biz era of Marvel figures, I must say. That said, there he is with his lantern on a stick. And his bone claw, all ready to go and ruin Danny Ketch's day. Looking pretty cool. I do quite like this guy, even though he's a freaking C-list villain for the most part. I mean, as far as Ghost Rider's main villains are concerned, you got Lilith, you got Zarathos, you got, I would even say Blackout is probably the most infamous of the Lilin characters. As far as my knowledge is concerned, he's the most used anyways. He was in the movies. Bought my camera there. He was in the movies and also the video game for the movie. Excuse me. But you also have Blackheart and Mephisto. Vengeance, I guess, who became more of an anti-hero during this time. He started off as a villain, but later on became anti-hero. Kind of like Venom to Spider-Man. That's essentially what Vengeance is to Danny Ketch, at least. He has fought Johnny Blaze too, but he was introduced in the Danny Ketch run of Ghost Rider. And then Deathwatch, I think, is more of a main Ghost Rider villain than old Outcast here. But, excuse me, I got a freaking frog in my throat or something. But, yeah. That's pretty much it for old Outcast here. Not a whole lot left to say about him. He's a cool looking character. I would like to see him in Legends, but let's face it, they're too busy giving us shit we don't want. Or at least I don't want. To make something as cool as this. So, it is what it is. With that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up here is good old Outcast alongside Mr. Danny Ketch himself, who, to my surprise, stands a little bit taller than Outcast. Not gonna lie, I assume Outcast is supposed to be a rather large character in the comics, so I'm a little bit perplexed as to why he is so short here, but I can only assume it's because of his accessories, because he comes with quite a bit of stuff. I forgot to mention that that skull belt he is wearing was also a separate piece when you open him from the package. That said, we also have the only other villain I've already taken a look at from this series, good old Vengeance, one of the best figures in the line next to the chain-whipping action Danny Ketch over there. Vengeance has the ribcage attack, and I just love that figure. That figure is awesome. And technically, I've already reviewed this guy. Let me know if you want to see a review of this one here, but I did take a look at him with his bike, I think for last Halloween, if I'm not mistaken, so there is that. That said, having all three of these sitting in front of me right now makes me really want a Ghost Rider Retro Wave from the Hasbro Marvel Legends team. I think that would be really freaking cool. And last, but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus, Livid Spawn, as usual, powers over everyone. So with that being said, time to wrap things up, some final thoughts. Overall, and even though I don't have the most extensive knowledge about Outcast as a character, out of all the figures in this Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance series from the fine folks over at Toy Biz, good old Outcast here is most likely one of the best action figures, quote unquote, in this line. And the reason I'm saying that is because while he isn't my favorite character in this line by any means, as far as an action figure goes, he is by far one of the best as far as sculpt and detail is concerned, as well as overall fun factor. This guy's got a lot going on. I mean, not to pat myself on the back or anything, but for an old dog like this to be posed in a way that looks as cool as this, yeah, I think this guy is, for the most part, pretty solid. And because he is a dated figure, after all, he's going to have some shortcomings, but of all the villains in this line, he's probably second to Vengeance as far as I'm concerned. That's right, even better than the big bad Zarathos, who we will be discussing in a couple of weeks here, so stay tuned for that. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays. If you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. If you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when Hasbro give us obscure characters like the stupid Serpent Society, but not cool looking ones like this guy. I'm sorry, but that shit is freaking lame, bro. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. But before I let you guys go here, we first need to take a look at all of the glow-in-the-dark elements that good old Outcast has to offer. And for the most part, the bulk of his glow-in-the-dark elements lie within the figure's accessories, which you do need to attach to the figure yourself, which is, well, I think pretty self-explanatory at this point. But I will say, while I was taking pictures of this guy, I was pleasantly surprised to notice that the spikes throughout his body, and I think even his fangs, seem to glow in the dark as well. A pleasant surprise, because I don't think I recall these glowing in the dark before. So this was a nice, pleasant surprise to me as I was taking pictures of this guy to discover he's got more glow-in-the-dark elements than I initially thought. So, really cool. He definitely gets some bonus points for that. And with that being said, till next time, I'll catch you guys later.